Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk English Now. I'm Aiden.
And I'm Maya. We're really excited about today's episode because if you've ever frozen mid-sentence or felt like your brain was loading like a slow website, we've been there.
Totally. That moment when you know what you want to say, but your mouth just won't cooperate.
Right? And it's not that you don't know the words. It's that you're thinking so much about speaking perfectly, you end up not speaking at all.
Exactly. That's why today's episode is all about breaking that loop, how to speak English without overthinking. We're calling it the Fluency Hack.
And we've got the perfect guest for this topic. Welcome back, Sophie Lane.
Hi, Maya. Hi, Aiden. It's always a pleasure to be here. And yes, this is such an important topic. Overthinking is one of the biggest blocks to fluency. More than grammar, more than vocabulary.
So let's get straight to it. Sophie, what is overthinking when it comes to speaking English?
Great starting point. Overthinking is when your brain tries to plan everything before you speak. You're trying to get the grammar right, the accent right, the vocabulary right all at once. But spoken language doesn't work like that. Conversations are fast, messy, and natural. If you try to perfect every sentence in your head before speaking, you freeze.
That explains so much. Sometimes I watch English learners pause for 10 seconds just to find one word.
Exactly. And the ironic thing is, native speakers do that too. We pause, say forget words, correct ourselves. That's normal. But learners often hold themselves to an unrealistic standard. They feel they must speak perfectly, and that's what causes the panic.
So would you say fluency is more about being comfortable with imperfection?
Yes, yes, yes. That's the hack right there. Fluency isn't speaking perfectly, it's speaking comfortably. It's trusting that your message will come out, even if the grammar isn't perfect.
Wow, I love that. So if someone's listening right now and thinking, that's me, I overthink every sentence, where do they start?
The first step is to shift your focus. Instead of thinking, I need to speak perfectly, think, I need to connect. Language is a tool for connection, not a performance.
That really changes the energy. Instead of being afraid of making mistakes, you start focusing on communicating something.
Exactly. And here's a simple technique. Next time you speak English, don't try to plan the whole sentence. Just say the first word that comes naturally, and let your mouth catch up with your brain. Trust the flow.
That sounds a little scary though, like letting go of the handlebars on a bike.
It feels scary at first, but it's actually how your native language works. You don't plan every sentence in your head when speaking your mother tongue, right?
No, we just talk and adjust as we go.
Exactly. So if you can train your brain to do that in English, even a little, you'll notice a huge boost in fluency.
That makes total sense. But what about people who say, my mind just goes blank?
Yes, the blank mind moment. Very common. That usually happens when we pressure ourselves to sound smart. The mind goes blank because we're afraid of saying something wrong.
So what do you do then?
Practice saying anything. I mean it, literally anything. Hi, I'm not sure what to say right now, but I'm trying. That is speaking English. That is fluency.
That's actually really freeing.
It is. And it builds confidence. Every sentence you speak, even a messy one, is progress. The more you speak, the less you fear it.
So fluency isn't about getting it right, it's about getting it out.
Yes. That's a great line, Aiden. Speak to express, not to impress.
Can we print that on a mug?
Okay, so let's make it practical. Let's say someone is trying to speak English at work or with friends. What's one daily habit that can help them stop overthinking?
Talk to yourself in English. Out loud. Describe what you're doing. For example, I'm making coffee. The water is boiling. I need more sugar. This trains your brain to think in English without pressure. And over time, you'll start speaking without overthinking.
I love that. It's so simple but powerful.
And here's another trick. Use starter phrases. These are phrases that help you begin speaking without planning the full sentence. Like, I think, maybe, let me see. They give your brain time to catch up.
Like a warm-up for your mouth.
Exactly. And with practice, your brain gets used to flowing in English without freezing.
All right, I'm gonna try that today. I'll talk to myself while cooking.
I'll talk to my cat. She won't judge me.
Perfect. That's the spirit.
So, Sophie, earlier you mentioned how talking to yourself out loud can train your brain to stop overthinking in English. I really love that because it takes the pressure off needing someone else to practice with.
Exactly. People often think they need a speaking partner to improve, but honestly, your best practice partner can be yourself. The key is to create a speaking habit, and your everyday life gives you that chance all the time. Whether you're brushing your teeth, walking to the store, or organizing your desk, you can be narrating it in English.
It's kind of like how kids learn their first language, right? They just keep talking even if it doesn't make much sense at first.
Yes, that's actually one of the most powerful comparisons. When a child learns to speak, no one corrects their grammar every time. Parents just encourage the child to keep going. But when adults learn, they expect themselves to be perfect from the start, and that's where overthinking begins.
It's like we're more forgiving with babies than we are with ourselves. We allow them to babble, make mistakes, and figure things out. But as adults, we expect full grammatically correct sentences, or we don't speak at all.
Exactly. But real fluency is forgiving. It allows space for mistakes. You get better because of those mistakes, not by avoiding them. So if you're constantly afraid of saying the wrong thing, you'll stay silent. And silence doesn't build fluency.
That's such an important reminder. So how do people actually start letting go of that fear?
You build comfort with imperfection. Start by celebrating the fact that you're trying. Here's one tip I give my students. Set a small goal like, I'll speak 3 imperfect sentences today. Not perfect, imperfect. When they do it, they feel free. Because the goal isn't accuracy, it's speaking.
That actually sounds fun. It removes the pressure completely.
It does. Because here's a surprising truth. Most of the time, people don't notice your mistakes. And even if they do, they usually don't care. Communication is the goal, not precision.
So many learners worry about being judged. Like, what if I sound stupid? Or what if they laugh at me?
And that's where mindset matters. The fear of judgment often comes from our own thoughts, not from others. Most native speakers are actually impressed when someone tries to speak their language. They appreciate the effort. So shifting your mindset from I'll be judged to I'm improving makes a big difference.
And I think when people are confident, it shows even if they make mistakes. There's something so powerful about owning what you say.
That's right. Confidence is louder than grammar. You can have perfect grammar and still sound unsure. Or you can make a few mistakes and still sound fluent because your energy shows trust in your message.
Let's talk about energy then. How can learners practice confidence? Because it's easy to say be confident, but how do you build it?
Great question. Confidence isn't just a feeling, it's a muscle. You build it through action. And one of the best exercises is something I call confident repetition.
What's that?
It's when you take a simple sentence, like, I'm learning English, and say it 10 different ways, each time with more confidence. Try saying it slow, then faster. Try smiling. Try using hand gestures. By repeating the same message with different expressions, Your brain starts to feel more natural in English. It becomes your language.
That's so interesting. So fluency isn't just in the words, it's in the feeling behind the words.
Exactly. Think about it this way. If you say, "I want to learn English," while frowning, you sound unsure. But if you say the same thing with energy and a smile, you sound confident, even if your grammar is off.
So practice isn't just about accuracy, it's about expression.
Yes. And here's another helpful thing. Record yourself. I know it sounds awkward, but it works. When you record your voice speaking English, you become aware of your rhythm, speed, and confidence. Then you can improve. And over time, you stop cringing and start noticing progress.
I did that once when I was learning French, and at first I hated the sound of my own voice. But it really helped me realize I wasn't as bad as I thought.
Exactly. Most people are better than they believe. But they never hear themselves because they're too scared to speak.
So recording yourself is like holding a mirror to your fluency. It shows you what's working and what can improve.
Yes. And it builds something very important, self-trust. When you hear yourself speaking and you realize, hey, I can do this, your brain starts letting go of that overthinking.
That's such a shift from thinking I can't speak to I've already spoken and I survived.
I love that. So Sophie, for people listening who want to take action today, what's one thing they can do right now?
Here's a 5-minute fluency hack anyone can do today. Step 1, pick a topic you enjoy. Something simple, like food, your weekend, or your favorite movie. Step 2, set a timer for 1 minute. Step 3, speak in English about that topic for the full minute without stopping. Don't worry about mistakes. Just keep speaking. Step 4, pause, breathe, and do it again, same topic, but say it differently. Step 5, smile, because you just trained your fluency muscle.
That's amazing. Simple, quick, and doable.
And the best part is you're not waiting for someone else. You're taking control of your own learning.
Exactly. Fluency is not a gift. It's a practice. And the more you practice it without fear, the more natural it becomes.
It reminds me of learning to ride a bike. You wobble, you fall, but eventually you just ride.
That's the perfect comparison. And just like with a bike, the more you think about balancing, the harder it gets. But when you trust yourself, you move forward.
Okay, I'm definitely going to try the 1-minute talk today. I'll talk about pizza.
I'll talk about sleep. 2 of my favorite things.
Go for it. And remember, every word you speak is progress. Even if it's messy. Especially if it's messy.
That's such a relief to hear. Speaking English doesn't have to be this scary performance. It can just be human.
Yes, that's what real fluency is. It's human, it's messy, and it's honest.
So far, we've talked about letting go of perfection, talking to yourself in English, using starter phrases, even recording your own voice, and honestly, it's all super helpful. But Sophie, I'm wondering about something deeper. What about the thoughts people have before they even speak?
That's a very important point, Aiden. Because most overthinking doesn't begin during speaking, it begins before. In those seconds before you open your mouth, 100 thoughts run through your mind. What if I mess up? What if they don't understand me? What if I forget a word? These thoughts create tension before the first word even comes out.
It's like your brain is setting up a trap before you start. You're already nervous even before you speak.
Exactly. And the thing is, our thoughts shape our words. If your mind is full of fear, your mouth will hesitate. So one way to break the overthinking loop is to change the thoughts that come before speaking.
So it's not just about practicing English, it's also about practicing a new mindset?
Yes. Mindset is everything. Think of it like this. If you walk into a room thinking, I'm going to embarrass myself, your brain starts scanning for signs that it's true. But if you walk in thinking, I'm here to learn and connect, you relax. That one sentence in your mind changes your entire body language.
That's so true. I've seen it with students. When they smile and speak, even with mistakes, people respond better. But when they look terrified, it makes others nervous too.
Exactly. Confidence creates comfort. And one way to build that confidence is with what I call prep thoughts, short, positive sentences you say to yourself before speaking.
Like what?
Things like, it's okay to make mistakes. Or, I'm doing my best. Or, I'm here to practice, not to perform. These phrases are small, but they're powerful. They tell your brain it's safe to speak.
So it's like rewiring your inner voice.
Yes. Most overthinking is actually your brain trying to protect you. It's saying, wait, be careful. But your job is to teach your brain, hey, I don't need protection right now. I need permission.
That's a great line. I don't need protection, I need permission. I love that.
It really works. And over time, your brain learns that speaking English isn't dangerous. It's just a skill you're building, like learning to swim or drive.
Okay, let's say someone wants to try that. They're about to speak English. What's a quick mental habit they can do in that moment?
Here's one, take a breath. Just one deep breath. As you breathe in, say to yourself, I'm here to learn. Then speak. It's like pressing a mental reset button.
So simple, but I bet it works.
It really does. And the science backs it up. A calm breath lowers anxiety. A simple thought redirects attention. Together, they reduce overthinking and help your brain focus on the moment.
That's such a gentle approach. No pressure, just presence.
Exactly. Learning a language is not a race. It's a relationship with the words, the culture, and with yourself. So be kind to yourself.
Okay, now I want to ask something a little funny but also serious. What about those weird moments when someone speaks English and suddenly forgets a super basic word?
Oh yes, like saying, what do you call that thing? Fork.
It happens all the time. And not just to learners, to native speakers too. That's totally normal. Brains sometimes get tired or distracted. So if that happens, just describe the word. Say, the thing we use to eat, and people will get it.
So it's okay to not know every word?
Absolutely. Fluency doesn't mean knowing every word. It means knowing how to work around the ones you forget. That's a real skill, and it keeps you from panicking.
I like that. It's like playing language Tetris. If a block doesn't fit, just move another one into place.
Exactly. You get creative. And here's the good news. Every time you work around a word, your brain learns even more. You build flexibility, not just vocabulary.
And I guess that helps reduce overthinking too, because you stop worrying about having the perfect word.
Yes. When you realize that being understood is more important than being perfect, you start to relax. You start to flow.
So what's one more strategy to help people speak without freezing?
Use chunk language. That means practicing ready-made phrases that you can use again and again. These phrases live in your memory like buttons you can press. For example, let me think. That's a good question. Or I'm not sure, but I'll try to explain.
So instead of building every sentence from scratch, you just pull a phrase from your toolbox.
Exactly. That saves brain energy. And it creates confidence. 'Cause you always have something to say, even if it's simple.
It's like having a few songs memorized. You can play them anytime and it feels natural.
Yes. And the more you use those phrases, the more they become automatic. That's how native speakers speak quickly. They're not inventing everything in real time. They're using familiar rhythms.
That makes so much sense. So chunk language, prep thoughts, starter phrases, speaking out loud, recording yourself, all of these help you stop overthinking.
They do. Because they build one thing that matters most, trust. When you trust yourself, the fear gets smaller. And when the fear gets smaller, your fluency gets stronger.
All right, Sophie, before we wrap up this part, can I ask one last thing?
Of course.
Can you tell our listeners in one simple sentence the most important thing to remember when they start to overthink?
Absolutely. Here it is. Fluency isn't how perfectly you speak, it's how bravely you try.
Wow, I love that.
That needs to go on a poster.
Put it on your mirror. Say it before every conversation. And watch how your English begins to grow.
Sophie, that last line really stuck with me. Fluency isn't how perfectly you speak, it's how bravely you try. I think that's something every English learner needs to hear every single day.
Yeah, because let's be honest, overthinking doesn't just happen once. It sneaks in over and over again, especially when we feel nervous, tired, or like we're being watched.
That's so true. Overthinking is like a little voice that always tries to join the conversation. But every time you speak anyway, every time you try, you're turning the volume down on that voice.
And the beautiful thing is, the more you do it, the less you even notice that voice.
Exactly. It becomes background noise. Not because it disappears completely, but because your confidence starts to speak louder.
So what does fluency feel like when someone finally starts letting go of overthinking?
It feels like freedom. Like you're no longer stuck in your head. You're present. You're connected to the person in front of you, not the grammar rules behind you. You smile more. You listen better. And most importantly, you enjoy the conversation.
That word, enjoy. I think that's what a lot of learners forget, that learning English can actually feel good.
Yes. So many people have been taught that speaking English is a test. But it's not. It's a way to share stories, laugh with people, ask questions, and express your ideas. When you let go of the pressure to be perfect, you open the door to joy.
I want to go back to something you said earlier about fluency being like a relationship. That really hit me. Can you explain that more?
Of course. Think of it this way. When you're building a relationship, it takes time. You have ups and downs. You get closer. You take a step back. You grow again. That's how language works too. Some days you feel fluent. Other days, your brain feels slow. That's okay. That's normal. It's a process, not a performance.
So learners need to be a little more patient with themselves?
Yes. Be patient. Be kind. And be consistent. You don't have to make big changes overnight. Just 5 minutes a day of relaxed, pressure-free speaking can change everything.
I think that's something a lot of people miss. They think they need 2 hours a day or an expensive course.
Not at all. What you need is frequency, not perfection. Speak a little every day. Think in English while walking. Say your thoughts out loud while doing dishes. That's how fluency grows, in quiet, simple moments.
And I guess it's important to notice your progress too, right? Because sometimes people feel stuck when they're actually improving.
Exactly. You need to see your growth. That's why recording your voice, writing short thoughts in English, or even keeping a fluency journal can help. Write down moments when you spoke well. Write down phrases you like. That creates a personal connection with your learning.
That sounds amazing. Like leaving little footprints on your journey.
Yes. And when you look back, you'll see just how far you've come. That motivates you to keep going.
Okay, Sophie, I know we've covered so many helpful strategies today, but before we close, can we play a little game?
Sure. What do you have in mind?
It's called Fix the Freeze. I'll describe a real life situation where someone might overthink, and you tell us how to fix the freeze, how to speak through it. Ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Situation 1. You're at a party. Someone asks you, "What do you do for work?" Your mind goes completely blank. What do you do?
Smile. Take a breath. Say, "That's a great question. Let me find the words." Then describe your job simply. Even if the sentence isn't perfect, the smile and honesty will carry you through.
Nice. Situation 2. You're in a meeting and someone says something you don't understand. You freeze thinking, what should I say?
Say, "Could you say that again? A little slower?" That's a confident, clear response. You don't have to pretend you understood, just ask. And most people will be happy to help.
Love it. Okay, last one. You want to join a group conversation, but you're afraid of interrupting or saying the wrong thing.
Listen for a pause. Then say something like, "Sorry to jump in, but I really like what you said." Or, "That reminds me of something." These phrases are gentle and respectful, and they help you enter the conversation naturally.
That was awesome. Honestly, these little tools make such a big difference.
Sophie, thank you for making something so scary feel so possible.
You're so welcome. And to everyone listening, if you've been overthinking your English, I just want to say you're doing better than you think. Your voice matters. Don't keep it inside.
That's the perfect note to end on. Speak, even if it's messy. Speak, even if you're unsure. Just speak.
And enjoy the ride. Fluency isn't a finish line. It's a journey.
Thanks for listening, everyone. And remember, every imperfect sentence you speak brings you one step closer to the confidence you're looking for.
We'll see you next time on Talk English Now.
And until then, speak bravely. Speak often.